Today, we will once again familiarize ourselves with two health theories, one related to a low-fat diet and the other to a low-carbohydrate diet. Before we see whether the hay eaters or the lovers of juicy steaks will prevail, write in the comments what you prefer. A burger or pasta? Hi, I'm Mr. B, and this is the Health Theory channel, where I showcase various theories about health, compare them, gather scientific studies and expert opinions, and then present them to you along with my commentary. So, if you don't want to miss out on anything and genuinely want to take care of your health, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Insulin resistance diet. A 3-phase plan to save the world with carrots and brown rice. That's roughly how it sounds because it's based on 3 magical principles. Eat low-fat, plant-based, and everything you can find in the field or forest. It sounds noble, but can we really believe that cutting fat from the diet will solve all metabolic problems? Let's take a closer look and a bit of entertainment. The creators of this diet claim that a low-fat, plant-based diet based on unprocessed foods will reverse insulin resistance. Not only does it alleviate symptoms, but it also completely eliminates its source, the supposedly lurking fat in the cells. Sounds logical, right? The problem is that the human body isn't a machine running on plant fuel, and fat isn't the #1 public enemy. This diet also assumes eliminating processed foods and sugars, and here one can agree that it's worth giving them up. But is fat really the main culprit? It's hard to believe when you see that butter and steak still enjoy deserved popularity among healthy people on a low-carb diet. The authors of the diet advocate combining it with exercise to achieve quick results. Allegedly, people reverse diabetes symptoms within a few weeks and additionally lose weight and gain more energy. That sounds great, provided you don't miss a steak or scrambled eggs with bacon. Here's the first pillar, yes, intentionally sounding like that, step of this diet. Limit fat. Literally, cut out fat with scissors from every meal. The reason? The creators claim that fat impairs insulin action and leads to insulin resistance. Of course, they ignore the fact that saturated fats are crucial for hormones, the brain, and many other bodily processes. But well, science can be inconvenient. Instead, they propose a carbohydrate base. Starchy vegetables, whole grains, and fruits, their holy trinity. But what about the fact that carbohydrates can raise blood sugar levels? Don't worry, the creators claim that the fiber in these products slows down glucose absorption. Okay, but has anyone considered that insulin still has to do its job? Or do the creators assume that instead of fat, the body will miraculously handle excess glucose without needing to store it as fat? Next step, plants above all. After all, we are descendants of gatherer-hunters, as evidenced by the study of fossilized, our ancestors' droppings. The authors claim that our forebears mainly ate fruits and vegetables, and meat was just an addition. It's a pity they ignore all the evidence showing that a diet rich in fats from meat and fish was crucial for the evolution of the human brain. But that's probably not plant-friendly enough to appear in their lectures. For dessert, or rather the lack of it, whole foods. It seems that anything with any taste is forbidden. Chips? Evil. Chocolate? Chemical demon. What about delicious cheese or good quality cold cuts? No, they're processed too. Instead, they propose millet, chickpeas, and brown rice. Bon appétit. Apparently, it's enough to eliminate fats and processed foods to achieve full health. But who would want to swap a juicy burger for a bowl of cooked millet? In summary, the Mastering Diabetes diet is a tribute to plants, hatred of fat, and avoidance of processed foods at all costs. Does it work? Maybe. Is it enjoyable? Only if your dream is to live in culinary austerity. However, if you believe that fat and protein are natural fuel for humans and that meat is only an enemy in the cartoon world, feel free to skip this plan. A tasty steak and bacon eggs will thank you. The low-fat diet, the holy grail for those who believe that fat is the only evil in the world, responsible for every health problem. If you're overweight, obese, have heart problems, diabetes, or are on your way to all of these, then, as the proponents of this diet claim, you should reach for rescue in the form of a plate full of tasteless vegetables and fruits. After all, fat is absolute evil, and carbohydrates are wonderful fuel for your body, right? First principle of this diet: fill half your plate with vegetables. Broccoli, carrots, lettuce. Welcome to the health paradise. And be sure to add 2 or maybe 3 fruits a day, because sugars from fruits are a different kind of sugar, the healthy one. Poor insulin is probably already screaming in terror, but who would care? After all, fat is enemy number 1, not sugars. What about protein? Here comes another hero of the diet: plant-based protein from legumes and grains. Of course, they also contain fat, but hey, it's healthy fat, not that awful saturated kind. What does it matter that a bowl of lentils or rice can spike your blood sugar in the blink of an eye? After all, you get other nutrients, at least that's what they say. When it comes to meat, choose the leanest cuts. Chicken breast, here's your salvation. Fatty fish like salmon are tolerated, but only because they contain trendy omega-3s. What about a juicy steak or bacon? Oh no, there's no place for that because it's the gateway to the world of diseases. Saturated and trans fats? No entry. Bread, cookies, fried street snacks, all tasty things must disappear from your life. Ghee, butter, even fatty milk. Watch out, because every gram of these fats allegedly brings you closer to the cardiologist. But fortunately, nuts and seeds get a pass because they're full of healthy fats and a bit of the bad ones, but masked in tons of nutrients. But seriously, do we really believe that the main culprit of health problems is fats, not the mountains of carbohydrates we consume every day? Are sugars from fruits and huge portions of rice better for your body than a well-balanced meal with protein and healthy fat? One could say this diet is an attempt to whitewash carbohydrates, which are actually like a lit fuse in a metabolic bomb. So maybe instead of chasing fat off the plate, it's time to look at all those healthy bowls full of sugar and starch. The great diet battle, low carb versus low fat. Finally, we find out that the key to health is counting grams and calories, because the human body is nothing more than a simple energy calculator. Really? The study in question tried to determine which diet is better, and here's the grand verdict. Cutting fat is more effective at burning fat than limiting carbohydrates. Sounds convincing? Well, not necessarily. Imagine this study: 19 people locked in a laboratory, like in an aquarium, where everything they eat is strictly controlled. So realistic, right? After all, most of us live in sterile environments where chips, cakes, and ice cream don't exist. And the results? Those who reduced carbohydrate intake burned 53 grams of fat per day, but those who limited fats burned 89 grams per day. Eureka! Fat is enemy number 1. But wait a minute. Do we really have to believe that this whole equation boils down to a simple calorie balance? The human body, this incredibly complex machinery full of hormones, enzymes, genes and adaptations, supposedly functions like a steam engine. You pour in less fuel and burning goes better. It's such an oversimplification that it hurts. The problem is that reducing fat often means automatically increasing carbohydrates, the same ones that raise insulin levels and block fat burning. But hey, who cares about physiology when it's easier to sell the theory that fat is evil? For dessert, the researchers admit that in real life it's hard to maintain any diet. Well, maybe because eating is more than math. It's pleasure, satisfaction, and also hormonal reactions that influence hunger and satiety. But no, the solution is simply to eat less and exercise more. Yes, because we all love running on a treadmill for hours and always denying ourselves tasty food. The funniest part is that the study concludes, the best diet is the one you can stick to. So we're back to square one. Maybe instead of demonizing fats, it's worth looking at the quality of food and the body's needs. But no, it's easier to keep pushing the myth that our bodies are simple calculators and fat is the source of all evil. Enjoy your brown rice, the diet world greets you. Proponents of the low-fat vegan diet often emphasize that fat damages endothelial function, the thin layer of cells lining the blood vessels, which can lead to cardiovascular diseases, one of the leading causes of death worldwide. It sounds ominous, but does science really confirm these claims? One of the most frequently cited studies in this discussion was an experiment where participants were given about a quarter cup of olive oil with bread. Then their arteries' ability to dilate after the meal was measured. The result? A temporary impairment of endothelial function was observed. Based on this, it was concluded that fats paralyzed the arteries. But is it really that simple? First, the short-term impact of fat after a meal has not been linked to a higher risk of heart disease so far. It's merely speculation. Second, studies on olive oil consumed on an empty stomach show a completely different picture. It improves endothelial function, possibly thanks to the polyphenols it contains, which are beneficial plant compounds. What about the argument that a low-fat diet can reverse heart diseases? Here, a study by Dr. Dean Ornish from the 90s is cited. Participants with coronary artery disease adopted a low-fat diet, took part in support groups, quit smoking, and started exercising more. The results? A certain reduction in atherosclerotic plaque was noted. It sounds promising, but it should be emphasized that the measurement method had its limitations, and the diet wasn't strictly vegan. Egg proteins and low-fat dairy products were allowed. Moving on to the second theory, the low-carbohydrate one. I'd like to say hello to the fascinating world of high-fat diets, a nutritional approach that not only debunks myths about fats, but also opens doors to longevity, health, and effective weight loss. For years, we've been bombarded with the idea that fat is our enemy, and that the key to a slim figure lies in low-fat products and counting calories. However, science says otherwise. Dietary fats, especially healthy ones, play a key role in hormone regulation and fat burning. Imagine a body that is like a well-oiled machine. Fats are the fuel that drives metabolism, not an obstacle to health. Interestingly, studies show that the more fat in the diet, the better our bodies function. In the largest study conducted on over 135,000 people from 18 countries, it was shown that people who consumed more fats lived longer, and their risk of premature death was significantly lower. What about concerns about saturated fats? It turns out they are unfounded. Saturated fats not only do not cause heart diseases, but may even support health. Meanwhile, carbohydrate-rich diets, the ones recommended for years, are the real problem. High carbohydrate intake leads to excessive insulin spikes, which not only block fat burning, but also lead to the accumulation of body fat. Fat in the diet is not our enemy, it's insulin that is. The key to success is understanding how fats and carbohydrates affect our bodies. Fats practically don't raise insulin levels, allowing the body to freely burn stored fat reserves. Carbohydrates, even those from whole grains, cause sharp insulin spikes, forcing the body to store fat. And when you add fructose, a sugar component that is exceptionally toxic to the liver, the problem becomes even bigger. Now for the good news, high-fat diets are more than just a tool for weight loss. They are a way to improve health, energy, and well-being. Saturated fats, monounsaturated fats, or omega-3 fats, all of these are natural fuels for your body and brain. A high-fat diet helps reduce inflammation, improves skin condition, regulates appetite, and provides a long-lasting feeling of fullness. It's not just a way to a slim figure, but to a life full of health and energy. So why should we fear fats? Studies clearly indicate that fats are the key to a healthy lifestyle. It's fats that support our bodies in the fight against overweight, insulin resistance, and metabolic diseases. By choosing a high-fat diet, you're choosing health and a future full of possibilities. Hello, dear listeners. Today, I will take you on a journey through the land of high-carbohydrate diets, a land full of promises that whole wheat bread and healthy breakfast cereals will change your life for the better. Only in reality, it's a land built on quicksand of sugar and guilt trips. Let's start with a fact. A high-carbohydrate diet is like handing matches to someone in a cotton suit. It might seem harmless at first, but sooner or later, something will blow up. Sugar, whether in bread, cereals, or your favorite healthy smoothie, enters our bloodstream like a wild partygoer who won't pay the bill. Glucose spikes, insulin on alert. And you know what happens? Your body says, "Thanks, I'll take all of this and stash it in the belly." What about those quite healthy products? Maybe you think drinking a glass of orange juice is a great way to start the day. In reality, you're drinking a sugar bomb equivalent to several teaspoons of sugar, and your poor pancreatic neurons are begging for mercy. And Boost Juice? You walk in thinking, health in a cup. But in reality, it's 22 teaspoons of sugar that effectively turn your health efforts into a cabaret-level joke. Now, dear friends, let's be honest, carbohydrates are not our allies. High insulin is like taking out a mortgage loan on your body. You can enjoy it for a while, but repayment? It hurts. And worst of all, this loan quickly turns into insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and what we elegantly call abdominal obesity. In other words, welcome to a world where pants are always too tight. But now let's abandon the sorrows and move to the bright side of power, the high-fat diets. Ah, fat diets, our knights in shining armor full of butter and bacon. Fat is real fuel for our bodies, silent, stable, and incredibly satiating. You don't have to eat every 2 hours, like on a carbohydrate roller coaster. Breakfast, eggs in butter, avocado. Lunch, a delicious steak with a salad full of olive oil. Dinner, fish in butter. And between meals, silence. No hunger attacks, no dreams of cookies. Now a little experiment. Try fat for 3 months. Your insulin levels will drop, your waistline will shrink, and your body will start burning its own fat. It's like having an internal furnace running on fat fuel. And the best part, fat not only tastes better than sugar, but gives you superpowers, stable energy, concentration, and a sense of freedom from the devilish cycle of hunger. So, my dear ones, abandon that sad high-carbohydrate past. Don't let life be as bland as dry whole grain bread. Embrace fat with open arms and prepare for a life full of flavor, energy, and looser pants. After all, If even ants know that butter is better than margarine, maybe we should draw conclusions too. Enjoy a tasty life on fat. Now let's pause for a moment and think about what fat has done for humanity. It's fat that allowed our ancestors to survive ice ages, hunt successfully, and build civilizations. No one back then was running around with a piece of whole grain bread in their backpack. It was mammoth fat, and fat in the form of nuts that fueled their strength. And what did we get from sugar? Tooth decay and dentist visits that hurt not only your teeth, but also your wallet. Let's take another look at modern tragedies. Fat has been demonized for years, blaming it for every disease from obesity to weather changes. Meanwhile, sugar sneaked in through the side doors, disguised in the suit of a healthy alternative. Look at all those fit snacks full of high fructose corn syrup, where sugar hides under 50 different names. Nice trick, right? But you know what's best about fat? It's our ally in the fight against hunger. Carbohydrates are like false friends. They promise a lot, but leave you with nothing after an hour. Fat, on the other hand, is a lifelong friend. Scrambled eggs in butter. Feel full until noon. Avocado with a bit of olive oil. It's like a solid hug for your body. And what about the myth that fat is unhealthy? We already know that's not true. Even studies like the Pure study show that people who eat more fat live longer. Yes, you heard it right. Fat equals longevity. And what about those who eat a lot of carbohydrates? Well, their statistics look less colorful. To put it simply, the more sugar, the shorter the life. And we have one more great advantage of the fat diet: the freedom from counting calories. On a high-fat diet, you can eat when you're hungry and stop when you're full. No obsessions, no calculators in your head. Just listen to your body, and it says, more fat, less sugar, thank you. So, to summarize, fat is our hero, sugar the villain, and you have a choice. Do you want to keep spinning in the vicious cycle of hunger and boredom, or do you want to embark on a path full of energy, health, and fatty delights? Choose wisely. Fat won't let you down, and your body will thank you for it. Enjoy and welcome to a better life on a fat diet. In the world of nutrition, there are many controversies, but no diet stirs up as much emotion as the carnivore diet, which is based almost exclusively on animal products. What is it? What are its mechanisms? Who can benefit from it? And what risks does it pose? Let's examine it from a scientific perspective. What is the carnivore diet? The carnivore diet is a dietary approach that involves consuming mainly meat, fish, eggs, and possibly dairy products in the extended version. In its classic form, it eliminates almost all carbohydrates, including fruits, vegetables, and grains. Its popularity has grown thanks to figures like Shawn Baker, who sparked its renaissance a few years ago. Scientifically, this diet is similar to the ketogenic diet, but takes it to the extreme. It excludes almost all sources of glucose, forcing the body to use fats as the primary energy source. Why does it work? Because it reduces inflammation. Eliminating simple sugars and processed carbohydrates, which can exacerbate inflammation, leads to improved health markers. People on the carnivore diet often experience their CRP levels, C-reactive protein, an inflammation marker, drop to undetectable levels. Reduction in food variety decreases dopaminergic stimulation, leading to less appetite and more mindful eating. People on the carnivore diet often feel full much longer after a meal. Improvement in metabolic health. This diet promotes weight loss, improved insulin sensitivity, and normalization of blood sugar levels. This results from limiting carbohydrates, which are the main factor causing insulin spikes. High satiety from protein and fat. Consuming large amounts of protein and fat delays gastric emptying and reduces levels of ghrelin, the hunger hormone. As a result, people on the carnivore diet rarely feel the need to snack. This diet seems particularly effective in treating autoimmune and metabolic diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis, RA. Numerous anecdotal evidence and clinical cases indicate symptom remission. It's Crohn's disease and other intestinal diseases. It eliminates components that can irritate the intestines, such as fiber or gluten. Multiple sclerosis, reduction of inflammation in the nervous system. Type 2 diabetes, improved insulin sensitivity and reduced blood glucose levels. Metabolic syndrome, weight loss, improved lipid profiles. Do you prefer eating hay or meat? Be sure to write in the comments which dietary approach, avoiding carbs or avoiding fats, resonates with you more. And remember to subscribe to the Health Theory channel because there will be many more healthy theories. Because one says that you're not subscribed to the channel yet, but that's just a theory, right? True?